Bam, 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 bam. Kilted balls.
All right.
It's weird. So for all of our listeners there, I am at a campsite today by beautiful Lake Michigan, and a whole bunch of people at campfires all looked at me weird during our theme song.
Oh
I
man.
don't, I don't know why, but you know what? They probably were just sad that it ended so early.
Did end pretty soon. If you're
Yeah, yeah.
listening, everything sounds normal to you. But if you're watching, you can only see me, and Ball does not have the best signal with this camping. So if you're
No, weird. When you're next to one of the Great Lakes, there is not a great signal when that happens. So,
so you don't
yeah.
see like a cell tower nearby out to the west or
No,
anything.
no, I could probably run that way and see, right? Try to get a good signal, but
Don't run
probably
too
not.
far,
Probably not.
Wes. Don't run too far.
Besides, this is a better vision for our viewers anyway, because you can like make yourself take up the whole screen probably if you wanted.
Oh, that's true. I don't know if I'll do that or not.
And then they could just see you and you're kind of the better half. So it works out better that way.
You're too much. I think we make
No
a
ways.
handsome pair.
Especially when we're only seeing you from the top up, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
your
that's
shoulders
true.
up,
Well, my
right?
stomach is tightened up right now. I don't think
Mine is
anyone can
not.
see.
Our buddy Rick today made smash burgers, which are always amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to have three of them
Oh, nice.
along with the vegetables and stuff. So my stomach's pretty plump. So
Yeah.
yay.
Well,
Which, by the way, everybody, welcome back to the Kilted Balls podcast.
oh yeah, that's your job.
That's my job. We started getting into chit chat, chitty chat. So yeah, and we're recording on a different service today too because I'm on vacation.
Yep.
So I hope the rest of you are going to have a great. This is kind of a week for a lot of Americans to go on vacation, right? It's July 4th week. July 4th is on a Thursday.
Yep.
So it seems to be a thing up here in Michigan. I don't know if it's a thing in North Carolina.
I imagine it
Michigan.
is, but we're not doing it. We're just chilling, which is nice. It's gonna be nice.
We are not. I mean, we are chilling. Like today, we just like pretty much chilled all day because it was like pouring rain. But I
Oh,
was
boo.
laughing because I don't know if we talked about this on air, but you bought yourself an ice bath a few weeks ago to
Mhm.
test out to see if you'd use it. Did we
Yes,
talk about that on the show?
we did talk about it on the show.
And your tap water was 65, right?
Yes.
And I went swimming in Lake Michigan yesterday after my run, and it was 57.
That is a little colder. Actually, it's funny that the I'd say one of the biggest, besides friends and family, things that I miss about Michigan is getting really, really cold water out of the tap. And actually,
Oh,
since I've moved, the water here at the warehouse is the coldest water out of the tap, out of Florida, anywhere I've lived in North Carolina or anything like that.
really?
It's the coldest, yeah.
And if you're not around here, like our buddy Jason or whatever, Michigan water out of the tap tends to be right around 55 degrees in general. So that's it's normal out of the tap, and you got to heat it up from there. So, but you're right. I never thought about that. It might be warmer, and you always are living in a place where you get city water, so it's really not coming
Yeah.
through. Like most of ours is always well water, right?
Yeah, not like back in the day. I mean, growing up, we had well water and it was
Yeah.
super cold. It's so nice.
And every place I've lived in up here, I've had well water,
Mhm.
right? And it's fantastic.
Yeah,
And even if it
exactly.
wasn't, they bury it because of the frost. All the pipes are buried, like 10 feet down. And if you're 10 feet down, you're at 55 degrees. You've been in my basement.
Mhm.
Even in the middle of summer, my basement's like 55 degrees.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless I have a Bitcoin miner there, which leads us to the first thing we need to talk about,
Yes.
listeners. We shut down the Bitcoin miners.
Hmm.
So why don't you tell people about that?
Well, it was a little sad. I guess I didn't realize that. I thought that we had talked about it before, but in my mind, we were waiting till the halving and seeing what was going on there. Now, we had what we calculated as far as how much Bitcoin we would get by the time that happened. It was a little bit lower than what we thought, but I think we've talked about that all along, where
Yeah.
sometimes like some month is lower, or like when it's higher, it tends to be lower because more people are mining and just different things like that. But
Right.
with the halving, it changed our payout schedule too. So instead of getting every month, we are getting every other month, and we still had 2 months worth of electricity. And so plus, I mean, that was part of it, but plus like the warehouse has been super, super hot. So I would say with
Yeah.
both of
Yeah.
those things, it was just kind of like, okay, like if we're losing money right now and it's making my living conditions really uncomfortable, like let's just cut them out. So yeah, we did that at the
Yeah.
beginning of the month.
And for me, it was pure profit analysis, right? Like
Yeah,
those things are supposed to be driving a profit. And if we're, getting it every other month, it can't cover the cost, right? Like,
yep.
did you get your payout? I don't know if I got my payout this month.
I got a notification that I got my payout. I didn't go to Coinbase and look at it.
Yeah. And like, how many dollars was this month's payout worth? Did you see? Did it tell you? Like, I'm guessing like maybe $300 to $500.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought it was like $500.
Yeah. And our electricity was probably 800. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when you're running a business, when you're investing, whatever, you got to know when it's time to like cut your losses. And this would be a time to say, with the heat involved and everything else, it's a great time to just say, yeah, out. Right.
Yep. Now, when it starts getting cold again, if we're seeing like even more all-time highs again, and
Yeah.
we might try it. We'll definitely. I think that we definitely left that open to see like okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
But when it's close,
No, I
when
agree.
when it's at almost all low for that cycle, and you're like barely breaking even, it's like okay, whatever, because this is gonna go up. But right now we're near the all-time highs, and we know it's gonna go up, but we just don't know when. Is it gonna be a year from
Right.
now? Is it gonna be everything? The cycle says it's 2025. So that's
Yeah.
a few months to be losing each month to where,
Well, and I think it's okay to shut down for a couple months here and there anyway, as long as the price goes back up.
yes,
So,
exactly.
um, so I had a new experience. My wife had heart surgery Friday, so that was cool.
Yes, yes.
So she had, what are they called? Ablations. So basically what they do is they go into your heart and they find where there's misfires in
Yeah.
the muscle, like the and they fry that area. Like
Wow.
they basically burn it using radio frequencies so that it'll no longer try to, do its extra beats or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, that was an interesting experience. And we're only Friday wasn't that long ago, right? So we're only like 4 days out. So
Yeah.
it's still kind of interesting, right?
And she's
Because
doing all right.
the yeah, she seems to be. It's weird though, because it's one of those things that you never hear about slash talk about, right? Like everybody knows what a toothache is. Everybody knows what like they've heard people talk about broken bones or pulled muscle. You know what I mean? Um,
She's got heartburn.
right. She's got heartburn, like real heartburn. And you never hear anybody talk about that, right?
I
So
didn't even
you
know that
don't
was a thing.
know.
I didn't even know that was
Yeah,
a
that's
thing.
exactly. And that's my point. Like people don't know. And so every experience, you don't know if that's a normal experience with it or if it's out of the ordinary experience.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so you're like, okay, is it supposed to hurt like this? Is it not supposed to? Is it supposed
Yeah.
to, you know, do this? Is it not? And so you're kind of in this unknown because nobody ever has it or talks about it, right?
Mhm.
Whereas like when you have a baby, people have
Yeah.
been doing that for a while.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
They talk
well, or
about
like
it.
you just had a surgery and
Mhm.
people talk about that surgery all the time. So you knew what to expect, you knew how it was going to feel,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so that's kind of the weird part. Is that unknown part is always the weird part.
yeah. I imagine so.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And you said you had exciting news too. So mine was heart surgery. What's
So
yours?
let me paint a picture for you. And
Yes, yes.
I don't think have you ever bought land? I know you bought a lot of houses and stuff, and that's different. Have you ever bought land before?
Uh, no, I don't think I have. I think I've attempted to buy land many times.
Yeah, because I know,
And
like,
again, my buddy Rick bought land because that's where we camp and we're like
okay, that
we have
makes
land to the
sense.
family camps at, right?
Yes, that's true.
So
I didn't even think of that.
and
So
then
it's like,
obviously my family's bought land all over the place.
yes,
So, but me
it,
personally, I have not.
yes. So let's paint a picture for you. You're thinking about buying some land. You
Okay.
see some cool, you see a cool listing. You
Yep.
you 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 have a friend of a friend is a realtor, so you're like, okay, let's do this. So you meet out at this land, you walk it, like this land looks cool. I think it's a good
Yeah.
deal, just by looking
Yep.
at everything else that's out there. And then,
Sure.
you kind of take care of everything. You don't really go hang out at it. You're just kind of waiting and see. A friend comes and visits. You're like, hey, let's look at this land. So you walk the land and you're like, wait a second. I didn't know this land connected to the lake. Very exciting. So you start looking at things, blah, blah, blah. And then, you just decide life is a little different. You decide you're going to sell the land.
Sure. Sure.
So let someone else do all the other stuff. You're going to sell the land. All of a sudden, the realtors get nasty grams like, hey, people are walking my land. This is my daughter's land. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you can't have these pictures. So it's just kind of strange. Like, we're like, that's weird. And our new realtor was in Florida. So she's telling us this. She's like, you might want to go out there, or when I get back, we can go out there and figure all this out. She's like, I'm looking at everything. Like, you actually bought it. It's okay. So if you had
Yeah.
tell from the story, like, this is a story about me. So she sends a picture. She's like, so check and make so this is the house, because we know the house, there's a neighbor to the right. She's like, check and make sure this is
Yes.
the right house. So you drive out there, and the spot that you walked in that you showed your friend didn't have this house. Like, the house in the picture didn't look familiar. So you keep on driving down the road and you see this house in the picture, and then you start looking at everything, and it's like, oh, this is my land.
Oh no.
And it doesn't touch the lake. So it was an exciting weekend.
No way. So, like when you checked your paperwork, it didn't match,
So, and here's what I believe happened. Now, the
but you
the
checked your paperwork.
the yes, we checked the paperwork, and so what I believe happened, and we don't want anyone to get in trouble, so it's not worth like trying to turn in the first realtor, blah blah blah. So on the picture, like on one of the pictures that shows the land, it shows a road coming in, it shows a house, it shows the land, and then that's what you see. So the lot that we
Hmm.
looked at, if you remember, like, there's a road coming in right there, there's the house there, there's the
Yep.
land. But if you
Yes.
drive down if you zoom out the map, you can see it's
Yeah.
a cul-de-sac road. It's not the main road in the neighborhood.
Okay.
So when you drive down, there's another road that leads to the left. That's a cul-de-sac, and then there's a cul-de-sac straight ahead. So when you zoom out on that map, which we're just like, he must have just looked at the basic map, said, "Oh, this is the road, this is the land. There's a house there."
Hmm.
So yeah,
So the land the realtor showed you is not the actual land you bought.
yes,
Is that what you're saying? And
Yes.
now that you've like looked at your actual paperwork, you looked at the paperwork and it doesn't match the lot that you thought was yours.
It took like just by looking at the paper, we couldn't really tell that. We had to go out there and look at it and like look at the whole map and like kind of go through all
Well, you
those
should,
motions.
the lots are, all those lots are numbered. So
Yeah,
like
but
your,
like there's a lot built like there's stuff built on it, so you can't go out there and sit and see like is this lot 40 or is this lot 34? Like you can't see that. If that makes sense.
oh, kind of, yeah, but you should
Like
be
there's
able
not
to
a
like, if
sign.
you, no. You'd have to count. You'd have to count,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Oh
And
man.
yeah. So to
So the
take a
way this
step
works,
back.
people, if you're wondering,
Mhm.
sorry, yeah, if you're wondering, people, how this works is wherever you're at, doesn't matter much which state it's in, your county will have tax maps,
Yep.
like parcel maps of wherever your subdivision is. And so you can go to that subdivision on the plat. It's GIS is the company that does almost everywhere. And you can zoom in and click it, and it will tell you your plat number
Yep.
or your parcel number. So it'll do either one, and you can check that with whatever one, say the realtor is showing you or whatever's on your paperwork, and then you'll know if it's the right one. So you don't
Mhm.
like we're talking right now, like we just went and looked and said, oh yeah, we assume this is the right one. But what you do is you check that plat map and then count it from the main road. So you're like, oh, that's 5 parcels down or 6 parcels down or 20 parcels
Yeah.
down. So
So, I mean, honestly, I probably would have still bought it because I didn't realize that it was touching water until you were here.
right. Yes.
So the biggest thing is I had to lower the price
Yeah,
because
how
it's
much did you
not
have to lower
touching the
it?
water.
A lot or just a little bit?
I mean, there's one across the street that's a little bit bigger and a little bit flatter, and we just lowered it to just a little bit under that.
Okay. So will you still break even?
Oh yes, for sure.
Oh, good. That's all that.
It's
Like
not
as
gonna
long as
be
you're
it's
still,
not gonna be like a 200x, like if it was actually touching water. And and
yeah,
and
exactly.
dockable. Let me say that. Touching water and dockable.
Yeah.
Just the water, it
Because that
lowered
other
it a
one
bit.
was right. But from the get-go, you never even thought you had water.
Yes,
So
exactly. And that's the whole thing of the story. Like, I'm not gonna go get the first realtor in trouble because he showed us the wrong spot. But we may reach
yeah,
out to him and be
you
like,
don't
hey,
think they
can
did
you?
that. You don't think they did that intentionally.
So I think yeah, no, I did that.
Yeah. So I mean, sometimes that happens, right?
Yeah,
Realtors are not always the smartest people in the world.
yeah. And I guess moving forward for me, it would be something like I double check. Like if I'm in that situation again where it's land and it's like, okay, can I get a GPS coordinate? Or like you said, look at that website. Because that's the website we were looking at. We went straight to the county. We typed in the
Yes, yeah.
actual information from the tax information where I've been paying
Yes.
taxes. Because our realtor
Yeah.
now, she's like, well, you've been paying taxes, so you have land somewhere. And it's this
Yes.
big and that. So
And when you pulled that up, you were like, oh, it's that place.
when I pulled it up, not necessarily. When we saw the house, that matched the picture she sent,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
got to the land, and then I opened up the map, then I could see like, oh, obviously this is it. So then I started looking at markers, and then also the company that did for the to put in the drain field and everything for the perk test.
Yeah.
They mapped
Yeah.
off where the house could be, and like we found the pink string in this giant area where you could put the house.
Which made more sense than the strings we found that were all messed
Yes.
up.
Yes.
Oh man. Yeah. The other thing you can do when you're getting land, like you said with the perk test, but we almost did this with our last house that we bought, is you can have them surveyed, right? Like,
Well, we had a
and then
survey,
you'll
but
know for sure.
I mean, we had a survey like this other stuff, but that just because we have a survey doesn't mean that we would even think we were on the right spot or not. Like
Oh, because you weren't
I
there when
never,
they did the survey.
yeah, I wasn't there when they did the survey.
Oh
And I
yeah.
never
See,
like,
so
there's no
maybe
reason
that's
to
what I
do that.
should say is make sure you're with the surveyors.
Yes. Well, that's what we talked about too. Like, what if we would have moved forward and then we're like, they're telling us, oh, we broke ground, this and that, and we go out and we're like, what's like nothing
Yeah,
is there. So
right,
it's a learning
right.
experience and luckily one that's not costing anything.
No, 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 right. It's not as painful as having like your keys stolen. And by
Yes.
keys, we're talking about our crypto keys, right?
Yes.
Like that's horrendous, but
Yes,
this one is
it
none
was a
as
lot more
bad.
painful than this.
Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah. This is just like, same as what I was thinking originally. So,
Mhm.
man, was that your whole exciting weekend?
Yeah, I mean that was pretty exciting. So
That's pretty exciting. Pretty
mhm.
exciting. And is your house a lot cooler now that the miners are shut down?
It is the miners were off an hour and a half, and Tristan walked out of his room and he was like, "What is going on?" He's like, "What happened?" He's like, "It's so cool in here." I was like, "Oh, just wait."
And is the quiet like messing with you?
I
Did
don't.
Gina even understand how loud they were until now
Yeah,
they're off?
I don't know if I know. I mean, yes, like obviously I noticed it, but really we were closed off enough to where you really couldn't hear them, like in the living
Yeah,
space. I mean, a little bit if you were like really listening for them.
right. Right. Still a difference.
Yeah, yeah,
Still
oh
a
yeah,
difference.
for
Man,
sure.
I was thinking one of the things that might bring those back online is if I could figure out how to insulate them so that the sound wasn't bad. Like using those in the winter up here is, you know, it's not as good as my wood burner for
Yeah,
efficiency, but it's a heater.
yeah. Well, that's what I was talking to Gene about. Anyway, it's like, well, who knows? Like, we might want to, because I definitely moved them down last winter, and it was nice. It
Yeah.
was nice and warm in here. Now I don't know what
Oh
a
yeah.
regular heating bill would be. So.
Right. You don't have to pay for heating, and you're getting Bitcoin on the side too. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that'll be something you'll have to look at. Man,
Mhm.
craziness, craziness,
So
craziness.
on my figuring out what I'm gonna do besides sheets and I think did I say that someone was interested? Did I talk about that? I know I told you about it.
Yes. Oh,
I can't remember if it was
I
on the
guess I
show
don't
or
know if
not.
it was on the episode or if it was.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know.
someone is interested. Um,
Nice.
and they're interested in everything. So it's just kind of it's someone who I know. So I guess
Okay.
there may be a little bit of that negotiation, and I guess we'll just see because we're even talking about that. Like, to me, it's like, are these things happening because we may be leaving soon. If someone decides to buy it, whatever we figure out, like, okay, we can stay here another, couple months or whatever, but we would have to
Right.
leave unless we worked it in. But I imagine that the person would want to either move into the spot or, obviously have like the whole warehouse access to it.
So you think they'll buy the whole thing and they'll move in there maybe?
I am not sure. I know that they want the building for sure.
Well, yeah. So then you'd have to make some decisions, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, I did find that the library actually reached back out to me and said that they
Oh,
hired someone more
no way.
qualified.
That's probably not too hard.
Uh-huh. Yes, that's exactly it. But it was just kind of, yeah, like my reasoning is like, I have like the kids' schedule, like school and stuff like that. And so there's actually I guess, and I don't think we talked about this on here, but you had said that schools now, they have a teacher or two on staff. That's a substitute teacher that they can just kind of put anywhere.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Mhm.
there was one of those openings at the boys' school. So I was like, that might be fun. So I threw my hat
Yeah.
in that. And plus I'd be on their exact same schedule. So
Oh yeah, which
whether
is
whether
always
something
nice. We
like
have the
that
same
works
schedules.
out or not. And I almost finished my master's. All I had to do was student teach. But I decided, like at that time, I wanted to go into business instead of be a teacher. And plus, I wasn't really
Which
excited about
I think
the politics in the school, you know. So I imagined something like this. Are you still there? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, we just got the notification. Yeah, I lost it for a second.
Oh, sorry about that. I did not lose you.
Yeah, you're super breaking up
Oh,
right now. I'll just finish my thought. So,
oh,
what's that? But what I was saying is that it's it's something that I thought I would enjoy and something that I would enjoy, and being doing it now, like in that sort of thing with the kids and having that same schedule. I still have lots of business ideas, and whether the sheets are, I sell the whole business or whatever, it doesn't really matter either way, because I could still easily ship my orders and do everything I need to do for that in the time frame. All right. Um, I guess we lost the ball. I don't know what's going on. We can't hear him anymore. So thank you.
hey, can
Oh,
you hear
wait,
me?
wait. Uh-oh, there he is. Did you walk
Haha.
into a funky area?
I walked into a bad area. That is all my bad. And people, if you're wondering, like, here's like my focus is bad. Everything's just bad, right? No
Yep.
good signal for you guys.
We can hear you now pretty well, so that is good.
Oh, good, 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 good. So
So
probably walked back in range of the tower.
yep. I finished up my thoughts on why I wanted to be a teacher before and why I decided not to be a teacher, and then just kind of life just circles back around. I don't know if I would want like a full-time teaching job. I don't know if I'd want to go back and complete like any schooling and have to complete. But I mean, I definitely enjoy being in the
Right.
classroom. I enjoy helping people, and so and the schedule works out because I'm not going on
Yeah.
really any. I mean, I guess I try to pull the kids out here and there, like if we're doing something fun, but I don't necessarily have to do that.
Right. Right. Well, and I think, if you wanted to do that, you still could, right? Like
Yeah,
you get sick days and stuff.
yeah, I have tons of time left too. Yeah. So I mean, we'll just see. I just sent in my resume, which was kind of fun to do. So I just put the highlights on there.
Well, that's awesome. And if it's anything like down here, like it's really about whether you're a good person and you're kind of a good person. So they'd probably take you.
That's what I was
So
thinking. That's what I was thinking.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, that's awesome. And people, I don't know how long our episode's been, but I think we covered some huge topics,
Mhm.
heart surgery and understanding where land is. So it seems like a good spot to wrap it up. You
I
think?
agree. I agree. Yep. According to Zoom, it is a great time to wrap it up.
Oh, good, good. Nice. I must just have a feeling. Must just have a feeling for it. So anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in and for being with us again. We will be, coming at you again soon, and hopefully you'll start seeing some minis because we have some plans for some minis to start broadcasting to you guys. I'm hoping, right? Yes. Okay. Well, awesome. Well then, from all of us here in Michigan, thanks for being with us. And this is Ballbuster signing off.
Dragon Jerry, love you all.